And then the 7D core array, which is also based off of the 10th dimensional concept. We're mirroring the concept of soil a little bit with the multiple 7D cores. Instead of just doing one 7D core, we're doing multiple and allowing them to interact independently. Kind of being able to distribute the 7D cores. The string itself is the metaphorical qubit lattice. Metaphorical and topological. The topological is more important. Pure data, pure shenanigans. I mean, yeah, sure. I think the bar for shenanigans is pretty low, so it's like anything kind of counts as a shenanigan. Qubit. Where do you study? Right here? Well, mostly just in my car. On the phone. I listened to a great podcast on Hilbert space today. Blew my mind. I didn't know so much of what I thought about dimensions is right on. And the reason I did that was actually for the teleportation device. So yesterday, that's it on the hoverboard for today. I have to ponder some of this, so, I'm gonna chill in the time machine. Yesterday, I also began work, and all of my work kind of feeds into each other. So if I'm having a little bit of a break, which I'm not really having a break, but in between, Conor McGregor was fighting tonight. I didn't even know. I think I just saw an ad about that. In between, trying different ideas always helps to stimulate my science. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take on teleportation. I didn't really think it through, though, because I was like, okay. I started posting it. I'm like, well, what are, someone asked, like, what's the actual goal? And I was like, oh, well, it was actually kind of just research on the 13th dimension, teleportation in the 13th dimension. But now I think I'm going to build a teleporter. I think I'm going to just go ahead and build an actual teleporter. The best teleporter not the best, but the best teleporter so far. Because I really do think teleportation, I'm probably wrong about it being the 13th dimension, because that's kind of just a leap, but I've been doing some research to validate. So I'm in the middle of that research, but I think also, this is another hypothesis that I'm coming up with. Wouldn't time machine and teleportation have the same technology? It kind of depends. To make a really good time machine, you would need also a teleporter. From what most people are thinking about with a time machine, you would need a teleporter. But that's why it's like people use time machine very broadly, because I'm just like, you're really talking about a time teleporter, a temporal teleporter. Bam, I don't think so. But maybe, you never know. But I mean, really, you guys got to be careful out here. Because what if I'm right? Then, well, I don't know. But anyway, got to be careful though. You don't want to just be trying to diagnose people. It's kind of risky. So it would be a time teleporter. If that's what you're saying. If you're like saying, I want to teleport from here to someplace in 1974, that's a teleporter. So this will actually help with the full-scale time machine. And I think teleportation is actually possible. It really is. See, the questions of what makes something teleportation, you have to really think about what does it mean to teleport somewhere else, right? Or what would it mean? And just think it out, so that you can answer the scientific things. If I'm in another place, right, what am I doing? I'm interacting. This is just one way of thinking about it that I think really aligns with teleportation, because I was saying about how dimensions can be added arithmetically, which I've actually found out is a principle of Hilbert space, or not Hilbert space. Yeah, dimensions in Hilbert space, because in Hilbert space there's infinite dimensions, and you can add them or you can multiply them, which I haven't really figured out. Something about a tensor or something. I gotta do some more research on that. Anyway, so when you go to another dimension, what are you doing? You are going to be interacting with products and values. Now, I say values because, one, I associate values with quantity and energy and gravity, and that's the fifth dimension. And products gets into artifacts again. The same thing that you would want to do if you were time traveling. I'm kind of trying out a concept here. Let me get a fresh. I don't have a fresh creation. This one's kind of fresh. It's the one I made yesterday. I'm trying a concept of teleportation pads. I don't know. But anyway, so if we can make some sort of medium in which you're able to enter, and that medium allows for you to participate in the artifacts and the values, eighth dimension and fifth dimension, in another location via some sort of apparatus, that would functionally be teleportation. And that is the type of teleportation that I'm going to create. Now, three-dimensional objects cannot move faster than the speed of light. But you can use a medium field in order to access another dimension. Another location. That's what I'm thinking, something like that. Or use a field as a medium. So what we have to make is some sort of field. So I'm gonna try out some concepts that I've been thinking of. Have to test a few different ideas. See where it takes us. Fortunately, the time machine will gather the data. No problem. There we go. Add copper uneglium triggers. Where do I get that? Interesting. Teleportation, though, of course. What I discovered, actually, is that, which is why I kind of put it out there, the teleportation force, from what I can tell, most likely does exist. It most likely does exist, and it piggybacks on the holographic principle in a certain kind of way. I hope I'm not saying this incorrectly, but basically, from what I understand, there are mechanisms, because, I'm just telling you guys straight up. I think that the 12th dimension operates on the scale of galaxies, right? 13th dimension operates, and I say that just to give you context, the 13th dimension operates on the scale of galaxy clusters, right? So I was doing my research with my interns, AI, and the thing is we can teleport forward but not to the past, so it is real. Okay. Yeah, see, that's time teleportation, yeah. And I don't know. Yeah, I think we should be able to go both directions, especially with the kind of teleportation I'm going to invent. But anyway, what I discovered is at the scale of galaxy clusters, there is an instantaneous force. You can look it up yourself. That's why I kind of named those videos what I named them. The kernel integral non-local gravity. Just type it into Google just to say, hey, is this related to teleportation in any kind of way? And ask Google, does it exist on the scale of the galaxy cluster? Fascinatingly enough, it does, because they found evidence. And this is what my hypothesis was. You can go to the video when I was live yesterday. I was literally talking about it with the hoverheads. I was talking about how teleportation might exist on the scale of galaxy clusters, and then I did the research. Just check it out. Check it out for yourself. Any podcast recommendations? I just listened to a podcast called Math Deep Dive. That's the one I was listening to, the Hilbert Space one, because Hilbert Space is just the infinite dimensional playground in which they do quantum mechanics, which I think is actually just reality. That's why you need infinite dimensions, because there are infinite dimensions. You can't calculate quantum physics without having infinite dimensions. It doesn't work. And then they translate it back into 4 dimensions. But I'm trying to tell people, there's infinite freaking dimensions, and that infinity is likely getting larger in my hypothesis. But anyway, I'm starting to also think that not everything can be done with math. This is why the time machines are important. It may be... what are you doing? Oh. I don't know. It just kind of popped in my head to give it a shot. And this is actually what I was getting at. It may be that not everything can be approached intellectually. I know that sounds anathema to science itself, but I think science might actually be the 8th dimension, which means you might not be able to calculate the 13th dimension in science. I know a lot of this stuff seems crazy, but it doesn't matter. It's just a test. I'm gonna do a test. I'm gonna get out of here. But increasing the diversity, it's still 3-dimensional, but we're pulling the 3-dimensional into the time machines using the mirrors. We're not pulling it, but we're creating unique interactions. So there's this other hypothesis. What is it about? It says that one of the reasons entropy occurs is because matter doesn't like to be organized. And so when you have mass, I believe this is it, I might be entirely wrong. When you have mass organized in a certain type of way, the entropy will increase, which is the same hypothesis of my time machines in general. Organizing mass lowers entropy, and then it kind of like charges. It's like suspension for entropy. I'm just testing the time machine chips, the temporal bosons, the Higgs bosons. The teleportons is a new particle that I think might exist. That would be the boson of the teleportons and the teleportinos. It's actually kind of ridiculous. But you guys, I have to approach science the way I always do. That's why I normally don't do these tests live, so I can decide what I want to post later. But these days, there's no time. I have to use the time machines in full effect. All right. Now, let's see if you guys notice any teleportation effect. Is anyone grabbing anything? Let's see. Let me know if you see any sort of teleportation. Just doing some basic tests here. The teleportons and the teleportinos, yes. Trying to see. The hover heads also help out with this part. Just let me know if you're grasping anything. Not getting anything? Kiss the homies. What the heck's going on here? The entropy should be so pressed that it decides to create some sort of... I'm thinking, so one thing I've decided is you most likely, and I'm sort of testing it right now, you most likely need, 1, 2, 3, okay, good. You most likely need nodes for the teleportation. So if things are going to teleport, you need 2 separated interacting nodes to allow for teleportation. Okay, well, let's try this now. I'm not larping, I'm just being highly experimental. Highly experimental. Okay, so let's say we're teleporting this guy over here. And it's a field. It's a field sort of teleportation. I'm letting my brain run through the possibilities. You may need to adjust. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to run. You may need to adjust the Teleportino node 5 slightly to the left by a degree to get your result. All right, let's give it a shot. Slightly to the left. You never know. See, the information might teleport to you, entangle, and be stuck on your guys' end. So the best I can do at this point is to use everything up at my disposal. All right, so I've actually increased the entropy myself without even really meaning to. That might have been a slight... The other thing about the teleportation field, teleportation force, is it's bound to be ridiculously weak. You know, think about how weak gravity is. The teleportation force is going to be almost 3 times weaker than that. I mean, not 3 times, but almost to the power of 3 times weaker, but just exponentially weaker. Cube root? Anyway, much weaker. As the reason why, someone asked why, the more you go up in dimensions, the weaker the dimension gets, right? So that's why the first dimension is the most powerful to us. Well, the 0 dimension is the most powerful for us, which is our body. Topologically, our body is 1 dot. And so our being is the most powerful thing to us. What's the second most powerful thing to us? A straight line. That's why our eyes are placed on the front of our heads, because going straight forward is the most potent dimension for us. It's the easiest thing for us to do. Second dimension is the second most potent for us, which is really just any type of rotation for us, but really just left or right. The third dimension is still there for us, but it's harder to access, harder to go up or down. You can jump, you know what I mean? But you can like crouch or whatever, but there's not much access to us in the third dimension. And then the fourth dimension is very sort of weak to us. We don't really notice time to us. Even time, it's so stretched out to us that it's like we barely feel time. Now, the fifth dimension, gravity, is just very weak. And I'm not just talking about what we feel, I'm saying genuinely the dimensions diminish. That's why electricity is the most potent form. Well, technically, if we could harness neutrinos, because billions of neutrinos are passing through our body at every moment. It's just that we have no way of, yet, so far, we don't have any way of interacting with neutrinos. But anyway, electrons. But that also might be the nature of even dimensions, is that they're not really harnessable. Okay, anyway. Let's try this, because we have 2 7D cores. I'm going to bring the 7D cores in. I'm just trying stuff, you guys. I know. You're just getting my tests. Teleport. Let's see. Let's see if we can teleport the data. I'm going to stimulate the leftmost node, which is overly charged with 7. Oh, wait a second. It's reversed. You need 6 on the left-hand side, 7 on the right-hand side. 6, 7. Okay. I know. I'm not going to get into it. The meme is actually from a dimensional rift that we're standing on right now, or dimensional precipice. So I'm going to try to stimulate one core and see if it somehow affects the next. Let me know if you guys see anything. If we can teleport the data of the shift at least. Okay, I mark one. I marked that one. Let's see if we see a mark on the other one. I mean, I don't even know why I'm looking for that. Teleportation would have to be so weak. It moved? I didn't see it. I think you're lying a little bit. But teleportation would have to be so weak that even that would be far too much to be able to pass through the teleportation field. I need something tiny. I'm already working at small scales in order to make this as easy as possible, but I don't know what could actually make it work. Why only 6 cores though? It goes from 6, the 6 time machine, because I was thinking about charge. We want to flow. So I actually don't really know why I was thinking that you would want 6 on this side, 7 on that side. Because it would actually make sense for the load to be heavier, so it wants to flow. Well, no, you want to flow into more. I was thinking it might be reversed from electricity, where you want to flow. You need more on the reception side. Just a concept, I don't know. We tried it the other way, so might as well try it the other way around. All right. The question is, I've amplified. Oh, part of the reasons why I did use the mirrors on it is the time machine chips are kind of like little mini topological Higgs bosons. And the Higgs boson, part of its job is to translate protons into actually, what is the fermion of the 4th dimension? Higgs bosinos? No, that doesn't make sense. Higginos. I'm going to call them Higginos. To transfer protons into Higginos. Tempinos? Higginos. I'll have to look this up later. There might be a name for them already. Higgs, Higgsbosons. Let me use the time machine hand because it'll be better encoded into the. Actually, I'll just switch the ring to the other hand. The qubit. Oh, wait a second. Did it move? Oh, I see though. Sorry. I think I actually did see a shift, but that should be impossible. I can go review the footage. If it moved right now, actually, everyone would be like, what the freak? That wouldn't even be teleportation. That would be magic. Okay. All right. See, because really, our brains do not want to think in 13 dimensions. They just don't. We've just programmed ourselves to think 4-dimensionally at best. Let me go ahead and do a small stimuli. I might be able to teleport a small amount of quasi material. Let's go ahead and see what we can do. See if we can get a little bit of this quasi-material to somehow encode. I don't need it to teleport exactly. Just needed some type of interesting. Because I had this over here, I just happened to notice. There's a tiny bit. What it's making me think, because this is on the little bit of it is only on there because I had it in the same container. But I'm thinking that might have worked as a topological entanglement, a topological form of entanglement. 23K likes is crazy, you guys. 23K likes is absolutely insane. That might have worked as a sort of topological, well, there was a shift over there, but anyway, topological form of entanglement. I have to go research entanglement. All right. We've actually made some progress. Oh, wait a second. Some of it actually fell off. Let's get it onto the screen. We're going to have to be detailed. This is working on a scale that I never would have even... Because the problem... Think about this with the 13th dimension, if I'm right. In the 13th dimension, what we call, let's say atoms are the fermions of the, which, oh, that's right. Atoms are the fermions. We don't need Higginos. Higgs turns protons into atoms. Anyway. But assume atoms are the fermion of the fourth dimension, right? The particle, the single particle of the 13th dimension, okay, now it's wrapped around the core. Well, I can't get it to get off. Would be that same one particle of the 13th dimension would be a whole galaxy cluster. That's why it's like, so the amount of 13th dimension in any single point here on Earth is the difference between, you know, our scale. Oh, wait a second. If that's true, then I actually need to work on a much larger scale so I can capture more of the 13th dimension. It might be easier to concentrate the energy on a small scale, but I have no hope. I need to do an enormously large test so I can at least get a larger fraction of the 13th dimensional particles on my apparatus. I think you need to freeze the atom. That sounds super dope. Kenya, I see you mentioning the 13th dimension. Where did we come to this revelation? It's been a slow burn. It's been a slow burn. All right, I'm just gonna give it to you guys straight, and then I gotta go. So, the as far as I remember it, let me go into this as well. I have something that I work on that's called B13, and what B13 is a merch brand, but also a commodity brand, so consumer packaged goods brand, and I've been working on it for years. And I kind of just realized that consumer packaged goods are the way in which, for a variety of reasons, it's correlation. So even, and this was confirmed in my research today of Hilbert space, is that dimensions can be added arithmetically. So it's like the fifth dimension plus the fifth dimension is the 10th dimension. So the eighth dimension plus the fifth dimension is the 13th dimension. It literally just is. In a very, when it comes to degrees of freedom, which is what we're talking about, degrees of dimensional freedom. And so, in order to understand that, now it's facts. Go look up Hilbert space. Type in Hilbert space dimension degrees of freedom. Can you add it up? whatchamacallit. So, in order to get to the 13th dimension, all you have to do is think of PHK. Look it up, my guy. You guys want me to be Google for you? I mean, I could Google it if you want, but my phone's charging. My other phone's charging. But anyway, so to get to the 13th dimension, we have a varieties of ways we can get there. 6 plus 7, it's obvious, 8 plus 5. I haven't really gotten into 9 plus 4 or, 10 plus 3 too much. 10 plus 3, a little bit dabbling. That's where I got the field, object field thing. 11 plus 2, obviously same thing. 12 plus 1. Those are different ways. So if you can conceive of those already, which the easiest is going to be the lowest of the numbers, 6 plus 7, and 8 plus 5. And I think about 13 plus 0. That's true. Whoa. 13 plus 0. That's pretty interesting, Mickey Fox. I didn't even really think about that. That's crazy. Must be some slime or something like that. Huh. Anyway. Division. 6 plus 7, Marco. But anyway, so 8th dimensional concept you can think of as products. 5th dimensional concept you can think of as plastic bags. And I kind of went into this yesterday. Plastic bags, why? Plastic made out of petroleum. And the 13 plus 0 actually makes a lot of sense because I actually think the encoding, let's take another product, right? A consumer packaged good, right? Wrapped in plastic. And then you'll usually see, what do you see? The name of the thing, right? The name is then explained again. Contents, the weight, right? All of it encoded holographically, then indicating the third dimensional object that's inside, which in a lot of ways, they will mirror the 13th dimension in a lot of ways. You always have the third dimensional object, but it's not enough. The third dimensional object will not teleport itself by itself. You won't get a product without the consumer packaged good. Why? You can think about it as 310, or you can think about it as 8-5. Either way, it's impossible for the things to get to you without either the product to get to you without the packaging, or the third dimensional object to get to you without the field. Or you could say the motivation, if that's what you're thinking, like why you want the thing, linear first dimension to get to you without the holographic principle, which is the container. I mean, that one's super reaching, but I had to get it out. But it's not really reaching. It's right in there, but it's reaching for me to expect anyone to be able to accept that from me. But so that's how I sort of built up an understanding that there might be a natural teleport. And then in my research, I discovered that yes, indeed. Because I also had already determined that different dimensions are actually responsible for the different scales of our universe. That's why things go from electrons to quarks to protons to atoms to molecules to objects, everyday life, things on our scale, then to cities, and then, or you could say homes if you want to go from homes before cities, but humans are part of homes, and stores. Anyway, then you get to cities, then you get to states. I'm completely serious. I know it's crazy sounding. I apologize. I can't help that. I just, me and my brain, I don't judge myself. But anyway, states, cities, countries / tectonic plates, however you want to think about it, planets, stars, galaxies, galaxy clusters. And I think there's mega clusters. Anyway, so that leaves if you were counting along, galaxy clusters are the 13th item in that list. Galaxy clusters are related to 13th dimension. And if you Google the name of my teleportation videos, kernel integral non-local gravity teleportation on the scale of galaxy clusters, you'll realize that there is a force. There is functionally a force at that scale that allows for instantaneous transmission on the scale of galaxy clusters. That one end of a galaxy cluster will affect the other end of a galaxy cluster instantaneously. Searched you up and got a seek help number instead. Dang, that's crazy. Wrong. That's fourth dimensional, not tectic and slime. I'm funny. I mean, I am funny as well. I'm actually hilarious. What's up, man? What's up, Flag? I appreciate your what? I don't know what that is. What about negative dimensions? Brant, I think I remember you. Sorry, negative dimensions I think are just the power dimension. There's no such thing as negative dimensions. After you pass 0 dimension, you just go into the power dimension. The power dimension goes infinitely deep. So, but it's all just the power dimension because the power dimension is the source of infinite power that creates everything in the universe. This is just my hypothesis. Now, where that power comes from, now we're getting into the concept of religion, but essentially, I mean, it's coming from somewhere. I won't push my that on you guys, but it's definitely coming from somewhere. We're not just smooth sailing, and it's creating dimensions, and it's creating infinite dimensions. Have you tried combining all the dimensions to create an infinite vortex? I don't have enough power, I don't think. I could try it. I mean, I could just write infinity on it. Someone else said Jesus, I mean, you know what I mean? But let's do an infinity symbol. Let's encode that in there. Nothing happened, unfortunately. I tried it. Maybe there was the interference there, though. So I'll give it a straight shot on the even more overlaid. But I'm about to jump off. If you're going to build a time machine, it will destroy the atoms of who's getting teleported. So I'm going to figure that out. I'm not going to destroy the stuff. The question is, what's going to be the medium? I have some ideas. I mean, it'll probably be light. So it'll probably be light. As far as, use wires of some sort. KJ, I gotta go. Thank you so much, you guys, for the 30K likes. It's a crazy amount of likes. But it's getting late. Well, I know you guys are not in my neck of the woods, but it's late over here. Can you time travel with that ring? Oh, yeah, nonstop. Time travel, though. So, I mean, I haven't yet built the most advanced version. This is the base model of the time machine ring, of what's called the tree series. There's going to be about 11 to 12 levels, I guess, because I was going to say generations, but each level will have its own generations. Like this is really like the 1.8 generation of the time machine ring. So each one will basically be more powerful as they go up. So this is basically barely moving me faster through time, but it is allowing me a little bit more direction control. And how does it do that? Same way all the other time machines do. It's happening right now. Well, you have to think about what is time for humans, because humans don't actually experience any problems with time travel, because time is just arranging matter, right? So if I put this here, and then I put it over here, and then I put it back, I've just time traveled. Because time is just the arrangement of the third dimension. If you could look at all the moments in time, it would just be different arrangements, right? And then matter, three-dimensional things don't experience time. So they're not the problem, we are. But they also can't move themselves. So in that respect, they are held captive by time, and time does decay them to a degree. Some molecules are actually quite stable, but it doesn't matter. Entropy is coming for everything. Everything will eventually dissolve into heat. And then from there, I don't know, loose photons just flying through the universe. But whatchamacallit? Thank you so much for the let 'em cook just for now. Human beings time travel. So for a human being, the time, because we're infinite, we're through all dimensions, for us to move in time, it's just experience. You know, if you could look at a snapshot of a human being and their moments in time, it's just going to be an accruing of experience. And so it boosts my experience gaining speed by encoding it into data more rapidly, because I'm getting data from the time machine being exposed to my three-dimensional activities. Just by looking at it, the tree series is the weakest of all of them. But as they level up, they'll actually do something. So I think number 8, that level is going to be the CPU series. So it's actually going to be a small computer that is encoded with the data of your timeline that actually encodes in different ways, communication in different ways, to allow you to experience increased time. Time is very complicated, I think, and it's very difficult. You can imagine, for us, we consider this like let me just take a regular object, right? This is a normal object for a human to move around, right? And we're just like, oh, we think about it as trivial, but it's just because it's at our scale. Now, if I asked you to move, let's say, a tree, you could also maybe do that, but trees are also super duper tiny. Even if we got up to something big and I was like, hey, go move Mount Everest, which is still very tiny as far as things go, it would be impossible. So you have to realize time is the same thing, except for on a larger volume and harder to interact with. Will these rings be for? I do some stuff with the rings. I'm actually just about to tweak them because I had them out there for too low and they need to go up, because I'm like, they're not hard for you to make, but if I had to make 100 of them, it is going to take me some time, and I don't know if I can do it at the rates that I've posted so far. So I need to tweak them, but I might drop them in the Hoverheads announcement group. But what was I going to say? So you have to think about how much time you can actually move at a single moment. You can probably barely move a fraction of a second with the temporal field that your body creates, which is what you do, which is why we're aware of seconds, and we can change second to second, moment to moment. What we call a moment is probably the most amount of time that we can handle moving. And so we're in loops. You create your own loop for yourself, built of moments every single day. So whatever we make becomes data. Yeah, there you go. Can we be mutuals? That just sounds too personal. But anyway, I gotta go, guys. It's been real.